Ladies and gentlemen, 2 years in the making, we are back at Stade de France. Just over 2 years since we lifted the Weberless Trophy. We are back. And what a game over the weekend. Dusting Japan, easy work, no issues whatsoever. Curtly Arendse back in the mix. Almost making up for the disappointment that was the Proteas Women on Sunday, which I'm still reeling about, to be honest. In fact, it actually wasn't a great sporting weekend because United buckled. There was no F1. Expect them to buckle this weekend. The women, unfortunately, couldn't get over the line. But, the Boks making up for it. And then massive decisions being made. And Rassie Rasmus, flexing the Boks' analytical abilities. So the question is, how am I? And how are things going in the sporting fan's life? It's been an emotional one. Let's just take it back to last weekend, shall we? Where we'll start on Saturday, and Bok game versus Japan at Wembley. Not the biggest crowd, but in fairness, it's a big stadium to fill. It is a very big stadium to fill. And north of 20,000 people there. I don't think it was phenomenal. Ticket prices were hectic. They were hectic. So not massively surprising that it wasn't a sellout for Israel. It was never going to be a sellout. Especially at the same time, Australia playing against England, literally down the road, Twickenham. So, your rugby fans were split. In terms of the game, it's exactly what we wanted, isn't it? We got a hit out. Sasha Famagomazulu's cooking. The man is head chef at the moment. He doesn't even need any others. He doesn't need assistants. There's no line cookers. There's nothing. He is front and center doing it all at the moment. Scoring tries for fun. Kicking conversions for fun. He's just managing to affect the game in almost everything he does. And a little bit of criticism towards him at the moment from people about not getting the back line going. But at the end of the day, when you're scoring 20 and plus points every game, you don't need to worry about that because, if the Boks are guaranteed 20 points every game, with the way they defend, that should probably win us most of the games we play, to be perfectly honest. But another big game, another big point margin from the Boks, and life is just so good as a Boks supporter, and it's going to get a lot better this weekend. But Rassie, who's playing his 50th game this weekend as head coach, just continues to deliver. Curtly Arendse looked like he hadn't even skipped a beat, came back for the Boks. Easy work. Cheslin Colby at 50. Ethan Hooker coming in and still looking comfortable. Franco Master reminding some of the other fans who are doubting what he's all about. The only problem last weekend was Oxenchair and the injury to Oxenchair. And we'll talk about the Bok team for this. In fact, let's just go dive straight into it, shall we? Rassie, you absolute madman. First of all, so we wake up today, Thursday morning, and this is my routine. I wake up Thursday morning, I've got to go and prep for, team prediction streams, which, by the way, I'm absolutely nailing. 2 weeks in a row, and I'm top of the Forever Sports Team Prediction League on my picks. I'm absolutely operating it. Still leading the league. One player wrong. I went with Ruan Orkester and Lhuan-Dre Pretorius. But more to the point, I said Thursday morning, unassumingly just getting ready, going through my daily routine. And all of a sudden, bang! Rassie comes in with the tweet. Whatever France, there might be a few wrong, but whatever France pick will be a strong team. Does this man not just drop the France 23? Now, yes, it was supposedly leaked in the week, but does he not just post the France 23 and say, this is what we think it's going to be, basically? And he gets the entire 23 right. The entire starting 15 and the bench right. He calls the 6-2. He calls the debut. He calls the experience props on the bench. He calls the halfback pairing. He calls the lock pairing. He calls the centre pairing. He called everything. And to do that 45 minutes before, just to try and stoke some fires, is peak Rassie shithousery. And I'm in for it. Whoever showed this man Twitter, give them a medal. Give them a knighthood. Give them all the branding they want in the world because it has provided so many gems. that moment, I mean, I was busy preparing for the team announcement, and then I didn't have to worry about it because I'd already got given it from Rassie Erasmus. So very, very funny. And then we go announce our team. And what a team it is. First of all, CM Tanda Khaleesi, Captain Fantastic, making his 100th appearance for the Boks. I mean, he's a tremendous player. But if you told me, I'm looking, you got man of the match on debut, so maybe a bad match to choose. But if you told me after 2 or 3 years that Siya Khaleesi was going to be a Springbok Centurion, I don't know if I would have agreed with you. I don't know how many people would have actually agreed with you. The last few years, and sort of 2019 and to now, he's been so good. But a Springbok Centurion, that is something truly special. And what an achievement it is to get there. The 9th Springbok Centurion, the 2nd this year. And you think, talk about like absolute wild bromance to think that Emily Etzebeth, Siya Khaleesi, 2 best friends, both 100 plus after this weekend game for the Boks is mental. But Siya, just a thank you for what you've done, and I hope we just go and smash the French in honor of him, because what an occasion it's going to be. Then let's talk about the team. No Oxen Chair, but bang, Bernfenter gets an opportunity. He's actually got more experience than the prop he's up against. So, there is that sort of license. But backing some of the old guard, Lhuan-Dre Pretorius has been phenomenal, but then Lhuan-Dre Pretorius gets the call up and gets retained in the side. Sasha being back to cook. Kurt Lawrence, Cheslin Colby back, Damien Willemse. The last time he was in France, the last time he played the French, we had the iconic take the scrum call. And he was phenomenal in France for that World Cup. So I'm just waiting to see an absolute masterclass from Damien Willemse this weekend, back at a stadium where he was dropping 10 out of 10 performances back in that World Cup. But then the biggest news, NO Handre Pollard. Is this the end for Handre Pollard? I don't think so. However, what it is a complete show of faith that Sasha and Marty Liebach can get the job done this weekend. There is no, in case of emergency, throw on Handre Pollard, kick the penalties, keep it tight, grind out a match. We are sticking to Tony Ball. We are sticking to our attacking flyer halves. We are sticking to our attacking game plan with a bit of brute force. And that's what I'm absolutely buzzing for this weekend. It's the contrast of playing our attacking game plan whilst also naming a very, very large side. Very, very large. And I really, really hope it comes good, because we could be in for an absolute corker of a test match. Bernfenter, big opportunity. Marty Liebach, massive opportunity. Rassie's 50th game as head coach, huge. Sia's 100th game, huge. And my only fear is that we hype it up and then we get given what we saw against New Zealand versus Ireland, because that was one of the worst 65 minutes of test match rugby I've ever watched. It was horrible, shambolic, boring, disjointed, snooze fest. And I'm busy watching this at like 11 o'clock, opposite 11 at night, on the watch log. I literally even had people saying this is a tough watch, and people even asking, can we just call it? Do we just call it now? Go to bed, because that was an absolute snooze fest. It got a little bit better towards the end, a couple of late tries, but in general, it was absolutely awful. So my biggest hope for this weekend is that we see something better than that, because that was truly, truly awful. In terms of other rugby, Scotland decimating USA, what a waste of time. England hammering Australia, what did you even bother? This weekend, not much better, to be honest. You've got Ireland versus Japan, I think it is. England versus Fiji, maybe that might be a decent game, but Scotland versus New Zealand, I don't foresee a particularly great weekend of international rugby. It gets better next weekend. There's a France Australia game, which should be quite good. There's an England New Zealand game coming up. So it should get a lot better, but not a great weekend of rugby I'm foreseeing, to be perfectly honest. I'll tell you what we have watched in the last week or so is some very, very good cricket. First of all, the Proteas Women. I'm heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken. Finished my match on Sunday where I played probably one of the coolest cricket matches of my life. Had some beers, had some post-match drinks, then went to go settle in to watch the women, and I still had hope up until Yeah, probably the wicket of Laura Wolfart. Just so frustrating. We've been so good with the ball this tournament, and we just didn't get the start we needed. Marizan Cap, obviously against England, that semi-final, 2 wickets in that first over, and from there it was always going to be really one result. But just a moment to talk about Laura Wolfart. One of the greatest World Cup, in fact, the single greatest batting World Cup campaign in history. She is phenomenal. I mean, that is our best player we've ever had, by quite a long way, in fact. Her stats are mental. Back to up to number one in the world. I definitely would have had her in the conversation for player of the tournament. But a little bit of dead weight on that side. Need a bit of a refresh, I think. I think we need to look at a couple of young players. We need to start backing a few young players. You know, we had a couple who had poor tournaments, but we've got to back the youngsters, like Karabo Mesu, for example, like Anna-Marie Dirksen, who didn't have the best tournament, but she's young, and you've got to back her. We've got to start bringing in, other players in and around, and really start. But we've been in the final under-19s as well. We've got good young women players. We've just got to start backing them, and Manda Mashimbi's got to get that side operated, because we can't just keep getting to finals. Even cost the men's game. But what a place we are in South African cricket, that our women's side's getting to finals, our men's side's getting to finals, our men's side's winning the WTC. SA20 is really starting to rise. So we are in a good space as a cricketing nation. And I mean, we looked at the T20s. What a weird T20 series, where the Proteas went from being absolutely awful to not bad to then awful again. Bizarre. The first ODI, very average. But I want to talk about more the individual performers. Lhuan-Dre Pretorius has officially arrived in international cricket. 2 proper knocks from him so far. Not the big knocks yet, but he just looks so comfortable. He hits the ball. I mean, that ball absolutely pings off his bat. And as a fellow left-hander, I've got to admire it. But what a play he's going to be. Quinton de Kock back and starting to look good as well. Corbin Bosch starting to look like a great cricketer. Nandre Berger, fast, left arm. This is not a strong Proteas side in terms of our full-strength ODI side. But we're coping and playing well. So, for me, I mean, all eyes on that India Test series. It's going to be absolutely delectable. Spicy test series. And I think we've got the spinners to genuinely have a go at them. Can we talk about the fact that we are in the South African golden generation of spin? We've had good spinners before. Imran Tahir was the number one spinner in the world at a stage. Kesha Maharaj has been a phenomenal spinner for a long time for the Proteas. But now, all of a sudden, you've got George Linder, for example, who's doing the business. Mutasamy, you've got Subrian in the test scene. Graham Peters getting in a go over here. Took a bit of tap today, but he's affecting the game. We've got Bjorn Verteen is starting to bowl a lot better. Donovan Ferreira is starting to turn it up. We're starting to see that the baseline level of spinners in this country has risen dramatically, and that is what's giving us an edge in subcontinent conditions. We are no longer just this fast. We still got fast bowlers. I mean, we've got some guys bowling absolute rockets. But I just think as a cricketing nation in the last 10 years, I'm not entirely sure how it's happened given how crap CSA have been. But we definitely got a bit of a golden generation at the moment. There is so much talent out there, and we're starting to find the right pipelines to see this talent come through. So it's such a good space for South African cricket, and long may it continue. Because just as I thought we were in a good space from a football perspective, Man United goes and disappoints me. We were second on the log, that time, and you're thinking, cool, we win this past weekend, and we're really, really in that top 4 battle. And what do? We go and draw. We go back to playing like an absolute disaster of a team. And we're not back to square one, but we needed the momentum. We had to go on a 4-5 game winning streak and really start to show that Amarin's tactics had arrived, that we had sort of turned a corner, and to go and beat Chelsea and beat Liverpool and go and show that we had really progressed. And then to have such a frustrating draw, we played so badly, just makes me worry about the consistency. And the problem is, we've got no excuses for a lack of consistency. We're playing once a week. There's no fatigue. There's no traveling. You don't even really have to rotate the squad, to be perfectly honest. You're only going to play 38 matches. Probably 40 matches odd, maybe 42 total in the season. There's not a lot of matches for Manchester United to play. So there's no excuses for bad performances. And yet. Now, this weekend, Formula One. And I tell you what, is Max Verstappen going to do it? Does he dare do it? I mean, could we see one of the greatest comebacks? I mean, the McLarens were high and dry, got a long time ago. Wet conditions now being rumoured. Are we going to see, Max Verstappen go and do the business? Are we going to potentially see him rock up, come from behind, and storm to another championship, whilst McLaren absolutely just continue writing themselves off, basically, quite literally, through crashing and not being good enough? Ferrari are just an absolute banter of a team, and I'm all in on our 2026 because I have to be, because it's a disaster. So I don't even want to go talk about my Formula 1, to be honest. It's a bit of a slippery slope down there. Apart from that, golf is looking good. Live Golf, going to 72 holes. Interesting. First of all, that means I can get more tickets next year. I can go try and watch a bit more golf. This is a good news for me, because I've only got ticket for one day at the moment. We can potentially add a second day to the mix next year. But it's a huge move for the tour itself. One step towards getting those world ranking points, getting qualification for majors, meaning they can still play in the big game, big tournaments, your Ryder Cups, your majors, whilst playing on Live. Whether that means they might change the name, you never know. But it's a good step, and I still like the shotgun start. I think that's still a good move. I think it's going to make it quite enjoyable to watch next year. It's you don't have to go out at 8 a.m, for example, finish at 5 o'clock. You're going to go out, you're going to watch 4 to 5 hours of golf, and that's be done. It's like watching a T20 for cricket. Shorter, faster, intense. I'm a big fan of the format. So golf's in a good... I mean, Richard Stern, by the way, going and absolutely shooting the lights out in the Abu Dhabi Championships this morning. I think it was 8 under. I mean, it's phenomenal. So it's just a sports paradise at the moment. There's just so much going on. Box this weekend. Got to do the business. Got to try and see how Proteas going. A little 2-1 ODI series will be phenomenal. United, you've got to get back to winning ways this weekend, and I got to see a performance from Ferrari. Whether we will, I'm not entirely sure. And we'll have to find out next week, shall we? But let's see.